Now, it's not. I'm here now taking you through the reasons. Could I go ahead, Senior Counsel?
Just hold a moment, Senior Counsel. Honorable Malema.
Sorry, Honorable Chair.
Hold.
Sorry.
Let me start. The first reason.
I have recognized an honorable member.
Thank you, Chair. I think the question was not answered about whether did you meet Honorable Masemola, General Masemola,
yes,
Khumalo, and Mkhwanazi. Not whether when it was formed, the president met them. That was not the question. The question was, did you meet General Masemola before we go to issuing of a letter? I think there we didn't get the answer there.
Now, I'll accept that and then respond by saying the meeting on the 1st of November, where I made remarks or statements of a policy nature. I don't know whether that has since been supplied to all of you. Those minutes, you will see who was there. And you will see which, the minutes of 1 November 2024. Yeah, the distribution may not have taken place, but it's
Minister, sorry, just to refer the Honourable Chair and Honourable Members to the relevant volume. That's Exhibit Bundle 4, and it's at pages 163 to 177.
So could I go ahead? It was a meeting that was called to discuss the organizational structure. Now, I made remarks on page 3 of 15. The people who were present was Minister of Police, and I welcome Deputy Ministers, National Commissioner, General Masemola, and all other people who are present. Now, it doesn't say who else was present, but maybe if we get information, my understanding is that we were with provincial commissioners as well, not just General Mkhwanazi alone. So I make remarks there. The minister further indicated there was even labor there.
Where you reading from?
I read from page 3 of 15. The minister further indicated that there must be reconsideration and review of certain capabilities, such as political killings task team, which are primarily about addressing serious crimes. It stated that SAPS should guard against creating structures, units based on specific category, while these duplicate the existing capabilities, e.g. taxi killings, political killing, all being about murders. This is what I said in the presence of management. Now, further down in the same page, you will see what General Masemola said. General Masemola indicated that the matter of the provincial commissioners was resolved some time ago, which was under discussion. It goes on. and talk about. So he further stated that in terms of the inspectorate, in principle, management agree that there's a need to do away with it. That's the first unit that we dissolved. And it's not and this is a unit. It was not even the task team. It's a unit in the organogram. However, there are difficulties with doing away with the unit right away. We acknowledge and accepted that. He gave example of affordability and so on. He further explained that a political killing capability that is in place was in a form of a task team and not a fixed unit established. So these were elaborate statements that were made in that meeting of a policy nature, and they were present. That's my response. But there is another meeting that we held. I think it was on the 22nd. It's just that we couldn't find minutes. It is called policy statements that I made together with the National Commissioner. He made that in one of these meetings. Yeah, the Minister directed that the presentation should have a narrative in relation to the. So I'm making reference to that to respond to the question. But I never met the three of them to say, General Masemola, General Mkhwanazi, General Khumalo, come. Let's have a discussion. But let me then go to the reasons so that you will see that there were ongoing discussions on various aspects, and there are certain things that precipitated the decision to disband.
Before you proceed, Minister, are you satisfied, Honorable Member? Honorable Ngola?
No, thanks, Chair. Just to check that the minutes the witness is referring to is bundle 4, page 164. And if the witness has actually noticed that the minutes are not signed. Just that. Thank you.
The minutes for which meeting?
The 1st of November 2024.
From which he just read now.
Yes.
Yeah, but the question was whether there was a meeting with the three, and the answer is no.
Yes, Chair, I understand that part, but I'm saying if the minister noticed that they are not signed, so it actually touches on the authenticity and the credibility of the minutes. I was just raising that, Chair. It's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Then let me start with the reasons. So the first reason.
And have you
Excuse me,
on senior counsel?
Minister, just that part, it's part of this follow-up meeting of the 1st of November, at the bottom of 3 of 15. 3 of 15. There's reference to what General Masemola said about the task team. Can you see that the last paragraph?
Yes.
General Masemola indicated that the matter of the provincial commissioners was resolved some time ago. And then later on he says, the last sentence, he further explained that the political killing capability that is in place was in the form of task team and not a fixed unit/establishment. What did he mean by that, or what did you understand?
It talks about permanent structure. He refers to it as a unit, which I said in as a practice in subs would be part of the organogram, operating organogram. So it's not fixed, it's temporal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what was he not saying that this discussion about organizational structures does not or should not include a reference to a task team because it's not a fixed unit of the establishment.
What is important is to note that there's acknowledgement that it is not a permanent structure or a permanent establishment. It's not a fixed establishment.
I think we all accept that. We accept
Yes.
that it's been extended from every year, from 2018
Yes.
through now to 2026, except that your position seems to be that from 2022.
2022. I'm saying from 2022, there was no substantive discussion to extend the existence. There was whatever happened after 2022, which as the last signature of the National Commissioner and the Minister on the establishment, on the existence of the task team, was then for financial purposes to say fund, and then it was as it had happened up to 2026 is funding, but we're no longer there. We are now on my reasons why.
Yeah, but just to pause there,
Okay.
because it's important that we get this clear, because the former Minister Pele, certainly accepted right up until his last media briefing on the task team as the chairperson of the interministerial committee that there was such a task team, that it was in place, that it was operating.
And I would agree with him.
And that the interministerial committee, this political committee that you're talking about, was briefed, well, twice a year.
I would agree with him.
Yes. And there was never any, so, well, we don't know, maybe
That was
one of the
2023.
honorable members and their researchers will look into it, but it seemed to be, even if they were operating outside of the PFMA, if it was irregular or wasteful expenditure, this seemed to have been condoned. That because they continued in operation.
No, I've indicated that we held a meeting on the 1st of November and we held another meeting on the 22nd. Even if the minutes are not signed, but I would believe that because this was a meeting of the support branch of SAPS, somebody would have a correct record of this. But I'm on leave. So I got this document that was with me, not from the office. So they would have a better document in the office.
We had made a written request to the office of the National Commissioner, and that this is what we received and this is what we've made available to you and to everyone else.
Okay.
They don't have any other minute or any other documentation.
So let me go on. I've then indicated that I wasn't alone on the meeting of the 1st. I wasn't alone in the meeting of the 22nd. But let me go to the other aspects, therefore, or reasons for the disbandment right away. If I could be allowed to do so. So the first reason is my belief that if you continue to have a political killings task team, you are not recognizing the new work study and the new organogram. You are denying that there's a new organogram, there's a new work study that gave rise to the new organogram. And I don't want to be in denial. I am confirming that we've done that work and that the structure, I am able to face the nation and say the organogram that we've designed should be able to enable us to develop capacity to face the challenges that are out there, requiring response effective and efficient response from police. So that's the first reason. You now have capacity. We have done the work, you have processed together with everybody in the department, not alone. It is there in place, we just have to implement. General Masemola has signed the new organogram, and it now needs to be funded and implemented and rolled out. It caters even for the political killings, but no longer in KZN alone, all over the country. It is there, it is in place. I've demonstrated that. It has been discussed and adopted, not by me alone. Then we go to the next reason. The next reason is that when I assumed duties together with the deputy ministers, we got a number of people talking to us about various matters in the department. We were new coming in there. They would phone, they would WhatsApp, they would email. Others, in my case, they would ask for confidential meetings and so on. And I do state that in my affidavit. Now, these people, I mean, they would call you when you are in the car. They would call you wherever and so on. But some of these people, like the ones that are included here, because they're in different categories, like Mary de Haas, for instance. She wrote extensively to us and then wrote to Parliament as well. And
So, Minister, sorry. Apologies. I do want to get to your reasons for your 31 December 2024 directive. I do want to get there.
yes,
But I was still, unless you tell me you're done, are we finished with the focus of the disestablishment of the political killings task team before we get on to the reasons and the rationale for the disestablishment of the team?
okay.
And I think the last question was, which I think Honourable Member Malema had also flagged, and we don't have a definitive answer. Did you get into a room with General Masemola, with Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, with Lieutenant General Khumalo, who's the project leader of that team, to discuss this establishment with the team, or why it should continue, and for them to do a motivation? What we do know is that there was this meeting on the 1st of November where you made some remarks about it, but from the minute, unless the minute is not a full recordal of what happened, this was not a discussion about the PKTT. This seems to be a passing reference to the PKTT in the context of the organizational structure of the police. And the only reference that General Masemola makes is to say, by the way, PKTT is not a unit that's part of the organizational structure. It's a task team. We don't know. We didn't have the minute, unfortunately, before us when he testified. Maybe we'll put that question to him in writing and get his response, what he meant. So there's only passing reference to it. It's not a meeting where it was discussed. It was mentioned, and General Sabia had also mentioned the other night. No, it was, well, I'm not even sure now whether it was mentioned or discussed in November. we took issue with him, but perhaps to give him a little bit of credit, there seemed to have been mention of it in November 2024 before the decision was taken to disestablish the task. So can we accept from you there was no focused discussion on the disestablishment of the task team before 31 December 2024?
Well, Senior Counsel, I'm not sure about forecast because there's nothing that suggests that on the 1st of November, nobody was focused on what was going on there. But if you mean that there was no day where we said this day we're going to be discussing the National Political Killings Task Team, I would say yes, there was no such a day. There was no day to discuss the National Intervention Team, the National Intervention Unit, even though it has not been disbanded. But I'm saying, as a principle, you would discuss all the teams and so on if there was a day for them, and I'm sure at some point would come. And as it happens, you now know that there was a meeting that came after the disbandment. But
yeah, no, we know about those meetings.
But I wanted
before then
in the reasons. I want to capture that response, so you will then get to understand how we intended to handle that particular matter specifically in a dedicated form that you are talking about. But I've already answered that it was discussed on the 1st of November. It was discussed on the 21st of November and 22nd November. Much as you would want me to say there was a day, I am answering there was no such a day when there was a dedicated discussion on this. I'm saying so.
So your answer is it was discussed with, but Mkhwanazi wasn't in the meeting. Khumalo, he wasn't in the meeting. Only General Masemola was in the meeting.
Senior Counsel, I've said, yes, there was this meeting. It was the way it was. And these statements were made in that meeting. I want to avoid talking as if I breached a particular law by not doing what you are talking about. I'm putting it as it happened that we had a meeting on the 1st. Now, I'm not hearing you saying, why didn't you have the 3 on the 1st and not this meeting? So I had this meeting, I'm telling it as it is. And then on the 22nd, that's all we did. Not a meeting dedicated, separate with General Khumalo, with General Mkhwanazi, and with General Masemola. No, not that way. That one.
Yeah. So it seems to me that this is all part of your orientation as a new minister since July 2024, and even by November 2024, you're discussing the organizational design and structure. And one of those issues that crops up or arises from those discussions is the political killings task team. As part of that discussion, that's the context of that discussion. What I asked you about is whether there was any dedicated, or as you like to say, focused discussion on the political killings task team. And from this minute, it doesn't appear to have been the case. And we don't have, unfortunately, the minute of the 24th of November.
Now, let me say 2 things. I've already said there was no focused discussion on the matter, but I want to elaborate on that and give you the more detail. 2, not as if there was a prescription that it had to happen and take a particular form. There's no law that says so. 3, I've already given given what happened on the first and what happened later. But now, give me space to give you reasons why we disbanded. And some of the answers from your question, some of the answers you will get as I move on the matter. I'm saying this to lessen the burden on senior counsel to say, answer this question. I've answered. Okay, can I go ahead? Okay, go ahead. Final. All right. So the first reason